Community Preservation Committee meeting Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019, at 6 p.m. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting, may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Could I get a roll call of the members?
Charles Mons, Planning.
Jim Soul.
Christy Cantara Olivera, Historical Commission.
James Souza, mayoral appointee.
John Brandt, Conservation.
John Frankura, mayoral appointee.
Vic DeFarias, Park Board.
So we're missing a appointee from the City Council, and we're missing the Housing Authority appointee. Is there anyone signed up for citizen input?
Nope.
No. Next item on the list is the FY20 projects and appropriations to discuss what was appropriated at our last meeting. We did not add in the administrative cost into our appropriations, so we need to make a motion to add that in.
I'll make a motion to include the $45,000 for administration.
Second it.
So I have a motion and a second to add the $45,000 into our appropriation order. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. North Burial Ground was added into it, but we did not have the funds
We didn't deduct it.
to deduct that amount out, so we need to appropriate a little, like 150,000, maybe a little bit more than that, into the account to have enough funds in there. So I sat with Sandy and Jen Argo about the account and what was in it. So we need to reduce a couple of the projects to accommodate for that. And I thought about doing the historic pumping station. We had allocated $250,000. I thought of allocating $100,000 to them. I actually spoke with Terry Sullivan, and I told him what was going on, and he was okay with that. I also told him that there are funds from other projects that have not been put back into the account, totaling over $100,000. So once that funds are back in, we could appropriate funds back to him for that project. So
Do you want us to make a motion?
yeah, that'd be good.
So I'll make a motion that we change the funding for the historic pumping station study, decreasing it from $250,000 to $100,000.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second to decrease the allocation of funds for the historic pumping station from $250,000 to $100,000. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion?
No,
Aye.
I want to stop.
Aye.
Well,
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Charles.
Can we talk on?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Yep.
Well, I'm just wondering why you're taking it from the pumping station.
Well, I spoke with Terry Sullivan, and he said $100,000 would be okay for him to get the project started. So,
What would you say?
go ahead.
Yeah, so the thing, two things about the pumping station was, one was when we voted on these last week, this was the pumping station for one was the last project we okayed. So it kind of made sense that this was the first one we considered to decrease. But the other thing, maybe even more importantly, is that this project is just for the study.
Why?
So I think that they were overshooting the amount that they maybe needed for just the study.
Well, it's just a study.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it.
So it seems safe. It wasn't going to kill the project.
Like I say, Charlie, when there's actually several projects that were allocated funds in the previous years that the funds were not used and need to come back into our account. So I told him about that, and once they do, we'll
Okay. All right.
reallocate the funds back to
Fine,
him.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All
I
in
just
favor?
wonder
Yeah,
why.
that's fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then we need to decrease the amount a little bit more. I had come up with 3 other projects. The one I'm sort of myself thought of leaning to was towards the Vietnam War. We had appropriated $320,000 to them. I thought $300,000. They actually got $50,000 today from Bay Coast Bank. So I don't know what people think about the other ones, decreasing People's Inc. possibly, or the rail trail possibly. I don't know if anybody has a particular flavor on a decrease.
Yeah, so we only need to decrease it really just a little bit more. I'd hate to do People Incorporated because they increase it from 110 to 115 at our recommendations to hire an architect. rail trail, I think there's room to play if we wanted to. And maybe 20,000 from the Vietnam Wall isn't bad, especially knowing they got an extra $50,000, although it doesn't really complete their project. But maybe it wouldn't hurt them so much.
I think
So-
too, they've been receiving like ongoing funds from, you know, they have probably more of a chance of getting funds than any of the other projects because people have been very vocal in their, you know, they've gotten lots of funds.
So why don't we just do the rail trail maybe down to, well, you have 100 and 300. I think that works. What do you think?
The rate of decrease,
Yeah, we don't have to go down that far. We only need an extra $10,000 to make sure that we're within budget.
So if we go from 320 on the wall to 300, and that gives us just
a
a
little
little
buffer.
cushion.
Right, we could go to
So-
320, we could even go to probably 310, and we're still within budget.
I'll make a motion that we drop the Vietnam Wall from 320 to 310.
Second.
So I have a motion to drop the Vietnam Wall appropriation from 320,000 to 310,000. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other discussion on any other decrease? I don't think it's necessary, but
That just leaves us, that probably leaves us like $4,000 or $6,000 left over, which we don't really need to decrease any more than that.
okay. The last item was North Burial Ground, Sandy put on, but that was just informationally, that it just wasn't included in our, we appropriated it, but it wasn't included in our totals. So with that being said, anything else for the meeting? Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Close the meeting.
I'll second it.
So I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.